Okay, so in this video, we're going to look at how to make a song in Logic Pro. Hi, my name is Adam from AM Music. I'm a composer that's had music used on TV, had tracks signed to music production companies, and I currently work as an online music production tutor. And this video, we're going to look at how to make a song in Logic Pro. So there are millions of ways that you could do this, but this is how I often approach it. I'm going to start with the drums, then go to some harmony, which are the chords, go to the bass, then we're going to add a top line or a melody, and finally, we're going to have a look at the arrangement and the structure. I'm going to do a kind of electro indie kind of track. So I'm covering electronic elements and also kind of rock acoustic elements. So this is my approach. Let's dive into it. So this is how to make a song in Logic Pro. So I'm going to start with the drums. So let's go for above and beyond. I'm going to open the piano roll and I'm going to just use the step sequencer because it's really quick. Okay, so I've got some drums there. It's a very basic house techno-y kind of sound, but I'm going to do like electronic indie kind of vibe so that it combines. If I'm just doing EDM, a lot of what I'm going to be doing is using more MIDI instruments, but I want to show people how to also record stuff if they're a guitarist or pianist or whatever. They have a real instrument, so I want to combine the two. So although I've got some electronic drums there, I'm going to also combine it with some real drums. And I quite like the groove coming from more of a real sounding kit than electronic stuff. So let's say I like that. I'm going to get rid of everything else, but I want to keep the hi-hat. So I'm going to convert it to MIDI. See, it's now changed over and I can get rid of the acoustic sounding kick and I can keep the hi-hat rhythm. Crash I'll keep too. I want these to come up a little bit in volume. So I could do it on the gain knob here, but I'm just going to do it over here. And maybe I take this open out now. Okay, so I've got some drums. Before I go too far, I want it to be a little bit faster for this indie electronic thing, so let's go 125. Okay, and now what I like to do, so now I've got some basic drums. I'm just going to do this version. I just want to get the idea down quite quickly, because then I find the rest of the song seems to write itself a bit more, the quicker you can go. So number two, what I like to do next is add in some harmony, so some chords. So we're doing indie electronic stuff, but let's go with a synthesizer. Yeah, let's go for Alchemy. My MIDI keyboard's connected. Let's just start with a preset. Normally I might go in and change some of these, but I want to get a song down. Let's go with some keys. Let's not get distracted. And I don't know exactly what sound I have in my head. I'm just waiting for a sound that takes my fancy. Too thin. I'm going to put the drums on and play some keys over it and I'll stop when I get something I like. So that's how I like to work. So okay, so I want number one take there, and I quite like that. It's quite simple, but Simple as the name of the game, let's just get something going. And I was supposed to be doing chords, but more of a melody came out, so sometimes that happens, but we'll roll with it. I'm gonna quantize it here. That sounds like a verse to me, so, and I can hear now what generally happens is you start to maybe hear other parts in your head that start coming to you whilst you're listening to something like that. I now hear a bass line following that kind of chords that I was doing in the left hand, but it's going to be more like a bit more pounding almost. Let's create a bass line. So let's go to Alchemy again. I'm going to use Alchemy a lot because it's really versatile. It's really great. Don't overlook it if you're a Logic user. That might work. Let's see. And I'm just going to remind myself what I did in the left hand. So I went from G to F to E flat, and very simple, like, yeah. Okay, I think that will work, so I'll record that in. Cool, and I'll quantize that as well. Okay, cool, so I'm starting to get a loop together. So how did I do that? Well, that requires a bit of music theory. If you're not too sharp on your music theory yet, then don't worry. All I did was played around until I got something I liked. All I'm doing here with the bass, so the bass was number 3, by the way. I'm just following the melody that I came up with here. Like in the left hand, I've got this movement happening from... And then in the bass, I'm just following that same thing. I want this line here to be kind of what centers the track, what holds the track down. And then I just added in the fifth here. So fifths are 7 semitones up from the previous note. So if this was a C, the fifth would be G, because you go C, C sharp, D, D sharp, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, and that's 7 notes in between there, 7 semitones. If you play 7 semitones up a perfect fifth, it's always going to sound good pretty much from whatever note. And if you're ever in any doubt about what key to use, if you just stay on the white notes when you're beginning out, you're always going to be in the key of C major, or if you start from the A key, you'll be in the key of A minor. This would be C major. And just playing the white notes will ensure you're always in key. So if you're in doubt when you're starting out, just do that. Okay, so I've got... I'm going to build that out a little bit, and just so this is practical, I'm not going to go crazy in depth. I'm also going to go up here to custom so I can see how much time I've got. It's probably about 30 seconds. Yeah, cool. So I've got a verse there roughly, and I've got some electronic and kind of acoustic-y style. I've got synths as like my melody, dun, 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 and I've got my bass. And it's good practice to also name your tracks. So you can double click in here and you can do lead melody. I'm saying real drums because they're more acoustic sounding. Kick, snare, let's just say. Okay, so I have got an idea there. It's a starting point. What I can now do, what I ideally need now is a second section. If we call this our A part, that's our verse, we need a B part that goes with it. So what I'm going to do is look at what I've got in my melody here or in my bass line, and I know just from experience, but I know that what I've got here, I'm most likely in the key of G minor here. So now that I've got that, I want something else in G minor. So I went down before, right? But now maybe I want to go. Something that I like the start of that first phrase. So I want something now that's going to sound a bit more chorusy, because I think this feels more like a verse. So when you're in a key, you can often go to the 4th note of the key. So if we're in G minor, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, E flat, sorry, F, G. That would be the G minor scale. And quite often there's certain notes in the scale that have a real power to them, so that's often the fourth and the fifth. So that would be note number 4, 5, and 1. So you could do something around those key notes and it's likely going to sound a bit more, it's going to have some power to it. Playing around, and that's what it is. It's playing and experimenting. There's no right or wrong here. It's just trying a few things out within the key that you've decided to be in. I'm just going to continue the drums again, just so I've got something to work with. And we're going to say 17 to 25 is our chorus. Something like that. So let's just see what happens. Go with that. And I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to just copy and paste that down for the bass note, and I'm going to have it repeating. The thing I might do is shift it down an octave, so that's down 12, so it's lower. Okay, so it's a contrasting section to this previous section, and I think it works. It's not like groundbreaking or anything, but we've got bass, we've got drums, we've got a lead. What else can we do? So we can make the drums a bit more interesting. So I'm just going to load them up. I've joined them together. Maybe here we want to go ride cymbal instead. Velocity. Going from a hi-hat to a ride cymbal adds a little bit more energy, so that works for a chorus. Okay, so I've got verse and I've got chorus. Now, basic structure, step 5 would be making this into a fully fledged song. Now, I've only got 4 instruments there, really 3. I've just got drums, bass, and a lead synthesizer. So I can definitely fill that out. If I could sing, I'd probably put some vocals down, and maybe I will. I haven't decided yet. But what I can do is fill this out a bit now, because really behind any song there's 2 main sections, whether it's EDM or house or drum and bass, or there's always contrast. There's always an A and a B at least. There can also be like a C part as well, which might be your bridge or middle 8. But for the very basic, all we really need to copy and paste that, and that is being a bit cheeky, but you've got verse, chorus now. It's just for an intro sake, maybe you don't have the drums in. And maybe not even the bass. So we're now looking at the arrangement. So later on we would maybe add some drum fills into that chorus, just so it kind of comes as a little bit of a shock there. Even I thought it was a bit longer, so maybe I because we're including the intro, maybe I make that verse a little bit longer there. So verse comes up to 46, and then you've got a short chorus. See if you can sing, unlike me. Maybe you just start trying to get a melody or some kind of words together that will form part of your song, whatever that is. Or maybe it's just purely instrumental and you don't have any vocals, lyrics, etc. And I want to add some audio because some of you will want to know how to add in some chords. So let's take my electric, and I'm going to DI this, so that just means connect it directly into my audio interface after I untangle it, of course. Okay, so now I need to create an audio track. So we go to create audio, input 2 I'm on. Get your input to match the input that it's plugged into. Okay, great. Do I have a pick? Oi. Getting old, man. Okay, right, so got a pick. I know we're in G minor, and I'm going to tune up real quick. You can use the tuner in Logic under metering. Tuner. So I don't know what I'm playing here. I'm just figuring it out as I go. I'm listening to what I've got. I'm kind of trying to follow the bass line, so I know it goes G, F, and then E flat. So I got an F, maybe something like this. E flat. Yeah, maybe something like that. Perfectionist about it, I could click in here, I could go turn on flex, and I could just hit Q. I don't want to be on slicing, I want to be on polyphonic. You've got to be careful with quantizing everything because you can lose the feel, but just for this, just for demonstration, I've quantized it here just so it's all in time, and it shows you another skill. It shows you how you can put audio in time quite quickly in Logic, and you can use Logic's amps and pedals. Got Amp Designer. Starting to clip, which is when it goes above 0, and you don't really want that. You can just put a limiter on there, but it's best if you kind of gain stage or you level your volumes up so that you're not super loud. So now I need something in the chorus for the guitar, and I'm going to follow the bass line. So it starts on that. It's a bit more tricky, this one. There's already quite a lot going on in terms of stuff, so maybe I'm going to just play around for a while and see what happens with the guitar. So I'm really not feeling this, so I'm going to play something different. I'm going to do it leading with the guitar. So, and this is what happens as well. Sometimes you're not happy with what you've done and you delete it and then you change it out for something else. So I'm going to duplicate that guitar, and I'm going to lead with the guitar rather than what I had before. that second one because that was the best one. And I am going to quickly flex time it. So let's turn that on. But I just want to make sure the key ones, like the first beat of a lot of these, are bang on. I'm not going to go through and be crazy about it. And now I'll put in the bass and the lead melody. And as I said, there is some kind of backwards and forwards that happens. It rarely works linearly like that. Okay, so now I want to put the bass line to that. So it was a bit more simple. So what do? We did G. So G, D, C. So let's do. So I liked those last two. I didn't like the first one so much, so I'm just going to cut it there, and then I'm going to copy that over, join them back up again, and I'm going to quantize it as well. Simple, just that, duplicate it. Just go through what we've got so far. Okay, so all I did there was add some shakers in this second verse section. Adds a bit of movement, keeps it rolling along. And I also doubled the length of this chorus at the end. That takes us to about 2 minutes. So whilst I could potentially after the first chorus here, you could maybe do, come on, first chorus, you could maybe move that along and then have like a middle 8 or a kind of bridge section in here where you depart from those two ideas and you have a third idea. That could be something you would do. Bring it back, I've just had a double chorus at the end, which is quite a common feature in a lot of pop songs, rock songs, whatever. So yeah, we've got a kind of sketch of a song here. So really it's just crying out for vocals, this kind of thing. So final thing to do would be to record vocals. I mean, before we get into mixing at all. Okay, so you might have, I don't know, just some crash cymbal or something to make something like that, just to emphasize that it's a chorus. And if you're doing more dance music, you might have some sweep kind of thing. Yeah, so if you're doing dance, you might have some sort of sweep impact like that. Add a drum fill, So that feels a bit more natural in this kind of song. So I'm going to take those hi-hats out and replace them with snares. Let's bring up the velocity. Okay, so intro, and then, I don't know, for outro you might just have that bell sound again with the drums going. Okay, so there you've got a very basic, very basic, I must add, basic song, and hopefully I showed a few different ways that you can make the song. So we've got drums here, these two channels, we've got a lead melody or melodic idea, we've got the bass, the guitar is doing the chords, so you've got the chords, so that's the harmony part of the song, and then you've got a few extra bits, you've got like crashes here, and you'd have some sound effects and some drum fills, which would be your little ear candy, your little sweeteners that add some more personality. Now obviously I've put this together in just around about an hour whilst I've been trying to talk as well and walk through what I'm doing. So this is very basic, but this is how you can write a song in Logic Pro. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. I hope you found it interesting. And as I said at the start, there's so many different variations here. You don't have to start in this way. You don't have to write in this way. This is just one approach you could take. Sometimes I'll start with the melody. Sometimes I won't start with the drums. Sometimes I'll have a vocal idea and build around that. There's no specific way you have to do it. This is just the way that I find works great for me, and I hope you find a way that works for you too. So if you're interested in going deeper, I do actually have a course called Logic Pro Essentials, whereby I teach everything that you would need to know in order for you to get finishing music today. And that will take you from beginner to intermediate. It's about 12 hours worth of content, which might sound a lot, but it tells you everything you need to know without all the fluff. And I'm currently running a spring sale, and that will end at the end of this month. So if you are interested, go to the link below. I really love teaching about music production, so please hit me up, and I'll see you next week on the next video. Take care.